Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
It is one of the oldest stops on the PGA Tour, the 91st edition of the Genesis Open, and for the 55th time, Riviera Country Club is serving as the host venue. Here are the top storylines going into the week. Jason Day has held the top spot in the official World Golf Ranking for almost 11 months now, but that streak could come to an end after Sunday with a couple players on his heels. Jordan Spieth is now a 9-time winner on the PGA Tour. He's looking to go back-to-back for the second time in his young career, but he'll have to do it against many of the game's best. 8 of the top 10 players in the world are in the field. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Golf Central. I'm Lisa Cornwell. There's a lot on the line for Jason Day this week. Todd Lewis joins us from Riviera with more.
Well, Lisa, this is the 51st week for Jason Day as the #1 player in the world, but his position atop the world ranking is in jeopardy here at the Genesis Open. 2 players have an opportunity to supplant Day as the world's top player. Dustin Johnson has the best shot with a victory, and Day finishing in a 3-way tie for 3rd or worse means Johnson is the new #1 player in the world. With a win and Day finishing outside the top 24 here at Riviera, Hideki Matsuyama would become the new #1. If you factor in also the fact that Day's best finish here at the Genesis Open in 3 starts is a tie for 62nd, Day completely understands that he's got to be focused both emotionally and mentally to stay #1 in the world.
It is a lot of pressure, but you got to keep fighting and keep pushing forward because you get to #1 in the world. My whole goal in life was to get to #1 in the world, get to #1. Where do you go now? You know what I mean? You got to keep pushing forward and trying to find a way to stay there. It is more of a pride thing at the end of your career. You want to know how many weeks you're at #1. To get there even for 1 week is pretty special. I mean, no one can take that you're a #1 in the world for 1 week away from you, which is great. But I said earlier that I wanted to go from a calendar year would be great to go #1, but I need to just focus on what I need to do because you can't really focus on staying #1. The more you focus on the actual target itself, the more you attach yourself to it. You make mental errors out there. You get more frustrated. You do silly things out the golf course that you shouldn't be doing. I just need to focus on getting the process right, hitting the shot in front of me, going to the next shot and hitting that and trying to beat everyone else because I know that as long as I win, it'll take care of it. I won't even have to worry about someone coming and trying to, or it being bunched up as it is right now. Winning takes care of everything. But if someone takes it off me, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be angry or sad about it. And it just goes to show that I need to work harder, I need to be smarter, and try and win more tournaments.
Now, of course, Dustin Johnson is coming off a career year in 2016 where he won the U.S. Open and was named PGA Tour Player of the Year. You would think that Johnson would be salivating to add #1 in the world to his already impressive resume, but that's simply not the case.
I come into a golf tournament, I prepare to put myself in a position to win on Sunday. What number in the world I am. I mean, yeah, obviously I'd like to be #1, but that's not something I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, playing golf and, shooting the best score I can and, standing up on that podium on Sunday. That's what I want to do. And so, what number in the world I am doesn't really matter as long as I'm holding that trophy at the end of the week.
And finally, the other player in the formula, Hideki Matsuyama, he arrives here at Riviera as arguably the hottest player in the world, winning 5 times in his last 9 starts worldwide. I caught up with Hideki today playing a practice round, and I asked him if he's motivated by possibly being #1 in the world here this week. And he said, quote, "I am not really thinking about that. Sure, I'd love to be #1 in the world, but I'm just focused on my game and not the scenarios." And Lisa, by the way, no player from Japan has ever been ranked #1 in the world. That could change this week.
It's certainly going to be exciting to watch. Todd Lewis, thank you very much. Another superstar to keep your eyes on, of course, is last week's winner, Jordan Spieth, who surprisingly remained at #6 in the world even after claiming his 9th PGA Tour title. Just moments ago, Spieth met with the media. He talked about the state of his game after the victory at Pebble.
I feel as confident in my game now as I've felt, going back to there. Yeah, I feel very confident throughout everything in my game. Cameron was here. He never, I mean, Cameron's hardly ever there the Monday, Tuesday after a win. You know, what are we going to work on? But there was stuff we wanted to nail down, and we've gotten some really good work in the last 2 days, and I feel even more confident right now than I did last week. Don't know how it's going to necessarily translate, right? I mean, you could get the good end of the draw, you get the bad end of the draw, you could have putts that just miss or shots that, you know. So I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to play better than last week, but I'm very confident in how my game is now, and I was thinking about how I feel right now going back through the last 5-10 years, and I feel really good about things. The difference was I was stepping in after the Masters. The rest of that year, I was stepping into those tournaments even more free flowing. Like you know, the U.S. Open, we just had this mentality that, hey, these guys chasing us haven't been there. You know, we have. You know, and so. I'm going to need to, as far as major championships go, it's a bit different, and I'm going to want to gain some more confidence going into those. But pretty close.
How'd you get back?
What's that?
How'd you get back to this level?
Just figuring out what parts of the game needed work, how we needed to work them, and then it all comes from putting in the work, but then also seeing the execution in action in a tour event, and then seeing a result. So it's all that combination, but it starts with dissecting what needs to be worked on, putting in that work, and then trusting it on tour, and then from there, after you trust it, then mentally closing it out.
Let's bring Tripp Eisenhower along for the ride now, talking about Jordan Spieth continuing the conversation. He's been an impressive Tripp in his last 6 starts worldwide, 2 wins, hasn't finished outside the top 10.
Remarkable consistency, and you know what? A golf course that favors great iron shots. His iron game gets an A+ right now.
All right, how about some other top players in the field? Sergio Garcia, he's 9th in the world right now, coming off a win in Dubai.
Yeah, 3 consecutive top 20s before that win, so just red hot heading into there. 4 consecutive top 20s before the win. Momentum following Sergio as well.
How about Spieth's buddy Justin Thomas coming into this week ranked 8th in the world? What a climb he's made.
You think he likes Hawaii, Lisa? You think so?
You know, why not?
Why not?
I like Hawaii.
I like Hawaii too,
reasons.
but yeah, completely different. Yes, but he is in fuego. 3 of his last 6 starts. Amazing.
Adam Scott, the 7th ranked player in the world. He's a 2-time runner-up in this tournament.
And one of those came last year, Lisa, right before they headed, guess where? To the Honda Classic,
That's
where
right.
he won back-to-back weeks. So Adam Scott definitely likes this place.
Patrick Reed still trying to crack that top 5 in the world for the first time in his career. He's currently number 10.
You know what? He's can be a bit inconsistent, but the inconsistent parts are getting better because he's starting to contend a little more often when his game is really on. And look for Patrick Reed to springboard off that Ryder Cup with some success.
How about the top 10 players playing this week? Of course, we've gone through a lot of them, but what really stands out here to you?
I just think there's so many really good players at the top of the game and the top of the world ranking right now. This game is just in a great spot with especially the top 6.
Biggest story of the week, because there are so many.
Yeah, I've got to go with the fact that Jason Day could effectively lose number 1. Now, the scenarios, they're quite different. We saw them earlier. Todd mentioned them. But Hideki Matsuyama playing fantastic golf. This is a golf course, too, where if you look at the holes in Dustin Johnson's game that we're seeing right there, it's typically he hasn't been putting that well. This was the hardest place to putt last year from 4, 5, and 6 feet, and the hardest to putt inside of 10 feet. And these guys, Dustin Johnson in particular, has been missing some of those. Now, Hideki hasn't, but it's these small green complexes. They're very difficult to get the ball up and down when you miss. So you've got to look for the guys that can shorten this golf course, which certainly Hideki can, and nobody can shorten a golf course like Dustin Johnson. So Jason Day will have to help those guys a little bit, but they can help themselves immensely with the W.
And I feel so bad. I introduced Tripp. Not that they need introductions. Matt Adams, Tim Rosafort. Rosie, what's your biggest storyline of the week?
I'm going
You're
with
grinning at me for some reason.
I think Spieth's the biggest storyline. If he wins back-to-back, it's big because it's Spieth doing it, and also because of the way last year unraveled. I was interested in the reaction that Todd got from both Dustin and Hideki as it relates to number 1. And I get it, especially in Dustin's case. You put yourself in that position enough, ultimately it's going to happen. Whereas Jordan last week said flat out in his news conference that that's something he wants back. He's 6th in the world right now. He lost it at the match play last year, and that was even before Augusta. Cam McCormick told me today before they worked with Jordan, before he worked with Jordan, in the better place that he's in right now. And as observers, you could see just how he's reacting on the golf course. It's different now. He talked about it in a news conference, being more of a reaction player, better rhythm, not rushing shots as much as he did before, but playing at a faster pace. These are all signs to me that Jordan's headed back exactly where he wants to be, atop the golf world.
Here's another thought, too, to support what Tripp was just saying, that they are expecting some weather to come in on Friday, quite a bit of weather, in fact, so the golf course is going to be playing very long indeed. I actually think a player that we have to keep an eye on this week was one that you guys were just mentioning in Sergio Garcia. TaylorMade confirmed to me today that just before the Dubai Desert Classic, he changed every club in his bag. And statistically, he performed better in that tournament than he did statistically against it last year in every single category. So obviously, the new clubs are working very well for Sergio. So we'll have to see what he's able to do this week at Riviera, because remember, it is a ball striker's golf course. And remember, in 2015, Sergio bogeyed the 71st and the 72nd hole to miss that playoff by 1. So he's been close there, and he feels good at the golf course.
And didn't he just go into some local sporting goods store and just put on a new grip? Did you read that story?
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable. Sergio just walks into wherever and says, hey, this feels pretty good, and goes off and, well, just wins Dubai, so whatever it takes. Defending champion Bubba Watson takes on Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson, and more than half of the top 25 players in the world at Riviera Country Club. Our coverage of the Genesis Open begins Thursday, 1:30 Eastern Time. You guys didn't wear red. Come on. I'm solo here. It's on Valentine's Day. We'll tell you why Michelle Wie may love her putter in 2017. We also uncover why players have a love-hate relationship with the 10th hole at Riviera. And the European Tour has a unique format this week in Perth. Find out if John and Jeff love this idea. An alternate shot.
Golf Central is brought to you by the new Vokey Design SM6 wedges. Progressive design, precision performance. Grip confidence. Grip golf pride.